Hi, my name's Helen from Crafty Bunnies and I'm here to bring you a technique video on how to produce this ink splattered background and how to make this pretty wreath framelit. I hope you can see the detail there. I have used a stamp set called Pop of Petals for all of the floral stuff here, so all of the leaves and the flower. There's a punch that goes with that. And then I've used this swirly frame stamp set, which has got these really nice frames to just give your work a little bit of a lift. So put that card to one side. I'm starting off with a basic A5 card base. This is in petal pink, measures 21 centimetres, scored at 10.5, and it is 14.85 long. Let's set that to one side. On top of that, there'll be a piece of lovely lipstick. This is 14.35 by 10 centimetres, so getting 0.5 centimetres smaller each time. And on top of that is my white card, which is 9.5 this way and 13.85 along the longest edge. So we are going to start off with the swirl frame. And I'm going to ink that up in Mossy Meadow. This will be to the left-hand side of your card, but central from top to bottom. So you want to leave enough space around the edge for your frame. And then you can put that to one side. And then I've used these leaf stamps. So I have got two colours. I have got Pear Pizzazz here, and I'm going to be using the Mossy Meadow again. I'm going to put them to either side so I don't muddle them up. And I'm going to do a mixture of stamping and stamping off. So I'm just going to ink that up, and then all of the ends of the things are going to go into the middle because this area is going to be covered up. So I'm going to stamp it once, and then I'm going to immediately stamp it again somewhere else. So I get that lighter tone again, and potentially another one. And I'm just going to go all the way around, adding a few in until I feel I've got enough. Then I'm going to do the same with this longer leaf. It's nice to have lots of variations of tone, which is why I like to stamp off several times, and some of them be further out than others, some of them a bit nearer in. Just poke a few in where you feel there's a gap. I could do with the dark one. And then finally I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use the darker colour just to make it pop a little bit more. So that's the Mossy Meadow. And add those in. And again, varying how far out they are. And stamping them on and off. You can put them at any angle you like. And it really doesn't matter how many you've got or where you put them. I'm generally in danger of overdoing it. But although all this is messy at the moment, I have cut a circle in the Pear Pizzazz colour using the stitched frames. Now if you don't have dies, or you don't have this particular one, you can basically cut anything out in a circle. So you could just draw around it with something with a pencil and cut it out, but you want it to fit over the top of your frame. And again, if you don't have this frame stamp, you could just not have that at all. Have drawn a pencil circle for your outline to mark it, and then just cover up all your edges with your piece of cut card. So this was in the Pear Pizzazz. So I'm then going to glue that over the top using some Tombow glue. But I have forgotten something. I've forgotten the main reason we're doing this in the first place, and that is a bit of splatting. So I recently learned this technique And I have a blender pen here in the dark lovely lipstick. And you take the cap of the pen and the brush end of the pen and you flick. Now, this is strangely satisfying and also really effective. So you can build up how much you want and whereabouts you want it. It's easier, I found, to flick away from the centre of my circle. A bit more over there. Maybe a little bit more on that edge. And depending on how much you flick it, depends on how much colour you get out. So I hope you can see how I've flicked that all the way around to give that nice little bit of texture. So then I can come back to this piece that I've got ready glued, and I can glue that over the top. I'm then going to put that to one side a minute while I prepare my sentiment. I have cut out a white rectangle, again with the nice little stitch border, but you can just cut it with scissors or your trimmer. And I've used just a note from the Flourishing Phrases stamp set, and I'm going to print that in lovely lipstick. And because I've got flowers that are going to come around this side, I'm going to print this more to this end. I'm going to test it first. Yep, happy with that. Line it up. Beautiful. And then I've got a corresponding colour card, the lovely lipstick, which is the same colour as the ink. As you can see, I've used this for something else in the past to have a go with. It's always good to reuse things that you haven't been that pleased with. And just glue that over the top. And that is ready, so I can set that to one side too. And then I've got my flowers to make, so I've already cut out a couple of them and got those ready. But you just need a piece of scrap card. You need your flower stamp, now this is good to note, this is not a symmetrical flower, so when you punch it out your card's going to come in from the top. So when you print it, you want to make sure you've printed it the right way around, so you can match up the shape of your flower with your punch, so that when you're printing it on your card it will be nice and easy for you to punch out. So once I've inked that, I'm then going to colour in blend pens. I'm going to do a light layer of the lovely lipstick in the pale pen over the top, and then with the dark pen on the thinner nib I'm just going to fill in some of the extra bits, give a little bit of definition coming from the middle. I can just go over that a little bit to give some more shading. The lovely thing about these pens is that they're alcohol pens, and so you don't need to worry about any lines forming where you've coloured. They allow you to blend together your colours beautifully, so you can just keep layering over the top of one another until you're happy with the depth of colour, which means that you can get a really nice level of shading for them. You can also combine different colours, so I don't have to just use the lovely lipstick together. If I had another pink that was similar and I wanted to build up tone, I can do that, or create like ombre effects. They're very forgiving to colour with. I just like to flick from the middle really quickly, and then I go over the top just to soften the effect. And then my final one. There is also a remover pen, which is very handy if you've made a little bit of a mistake and you've gone outside the line, or you want to create a lighter, you know, like an area of where the light's fallen on it. Put those to one side. The middle I have done in petal pink. So just gonna gently fill the middle in. And then, because nothing is really complete without a little bit of sparkle, I've used my Wink of Stella brush, which does need a little bit more sparkle. So you give it a good shake, then you squeeze it, and you'll be able to see the ink coming down the middle. And I like to see, so you get a little bubble, see, and then all of a sudden it pops out. So I like to do this over a piece of scrap paper first, so that I don't end up with a, there you go, huge blob on the project that I'm doing. And then you can just flick this over the top from the middle, just to give your flower a little bit of sparkle. And probably a bit in the middle. That's sufficient. And then you can take your punch, and if I've done this right, I have not. It would have been the right way up, but you can take a pair of scissors to your piece of card and put it in the frame, and once it's lined up, just punch it out. So I've now got 3 of those. You will also notice on my card, let's keep going off, that I've got some vellum leaves cut out. This is using this really handy leaf punch. And just want a couple of those. And then you are then ready to start piecing your card together. Now, because I'm going to have various 3D elements on my card, I'm going to start gluing the flat layers together first. So I'm going to glue my lovely lipstick onto my background. Going to glue my white piece on the top. And you can already see how just that little layer of lips, the pink, dark pink behind, really picks up some of the little splatter colour. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use glue dots to add a little bit of metallic thread. So I'm going to put one of these large ones on this side. Then I'm going to take my metallic thread, and I'll start by putting the end onto the glue dot. Then taking a loop of the thread, wherever else I'd like it, come back down and push it back into the middle. We can then create another loop. And I think one more, because things look good in threes. And then I push that onto the top of my glue dot. and snip the end. Now this middle bit is all going to be covered up by your flowers and your sentiment. Then I'm going to add on my vellum leaves, which was still enough glue available for those. I think just there. So now I've got all my background layers ready before I add my sentiment over the top, and then my flowers will go over the top of that. So I'm going to use sticky pads for the top of this, the back of this, just to lift it up a little bit, and it will also lift it up from the glue dot layer. And then I'm just going to position that, so make sure I'm covering that up. And I'm happy with the overall look of that, so it's sort of in the middle. And just gently press those corners down. And then I'm ready for my flowers. Now, like I showed you last week, I'm just going to use the edge of my bone folder to lift up the corners of my petals, so that they look a little bit more 3D, which is always nice. And if you don't have one of these bone folder things, any flat edge will work nicely. And then I'm going to glue those on with glue dots just into the back. So I think one there. Tuck one underneath. And then one final one. And so here you have your finished card with this lovely splatter background and this pretty wreath frame. I hope you have enjoyed this video and come back next Tuesday for another. Bye for now.